complex up on the turn where Yod lives right now, just past him. This sat in a field out back as a cottage, and they were putting the new road down the hill, and they were taking the turn, and so this and the blacksmith shop had to move. So Andrew Sullivan got a price from somebody, and he wouldn't pay it to move the building. He was going to tear it down. So Andy Joseph said to me, "You guys, you're teenagers, you got to figure out a way to get that building down there." He's going to give it to me. So we fell 4 or 5 red pine trees and jacked the building up, put them on it, and hired Howard Seaman to come down with his old International pickup, or was it actually a dump truck? And we said to him, "Now, we're going to pull it out next to the road, Howard, and then we're going to unhook you. And you come down at 5 o'clock in the morning when there's no police around, and we'll go out on the road and down the hill." And Howard hooked up and said, he didn't really say okay, but he didn't say no. And he got the cottage moving, and when he got to the road, he never stopped. He drove right out on the road, brought it down the main road, and drove it on the lawn over about where that blue car is parked right now, and stopped. And of course, in the meantime, there was a trooper named Michaels living here, and he came around the turn, and he knew we didn't have a permit, and so Howard unhooked his chain, and the trooper tried to give him a ticket, and Howard got in his truck and drove off, just ignored him. And Charlie Farr was the justice of the peace. So I ended up getting a ticket from Michael, but I was only 16. So I really wasn't eligible for the ticket because you had to be an adult. And at that time it was 18. But he wrote me the ticket anyway, and so when Howard found out about it, Howard says, "I'm going to kick that," and so we went to court. And Judge Farr said to me, "How much is a permit to get the building permit or moving permit to move the building?" $50. Of course, $50 in those days was 2 weeks' pay. And and he said, "Well," he said, "I guess in all fairness to everybody, we better find you $50. He says, "You get it in here at $5 a week, and when it gets to 50, I'll sign off." The trooper was madder than Dickens, of course. But that's how this building got here. Then when I bought it many, many years later, we went to rebuild it for the first occupants. And when we got to the back wall, the guys couldn't put wires through. So Bill Benway was working for me at the time, and so he tore the interior wall off, and Andrew Joseph worked in a sawmill, and every night when he came home, he brought all the cut-off ends of all the 2x4s that they milled all day. So that back wall back there, when we first started to rebuild this cottage, was solid 2x4s laying on their sides.
Oh, wow.
There wasn't an upright stud in there, it was a solid wooden wall. It was one of many anomalies here in this building, but a funny one because it saved you money. You didn't have to buy any lumber, you just brought it home, kept stacking it like bricks, and then put a cover on each side of it. Nobody knew, and when he wanted electricity back there, he was smart enough to run along the inside wall. I, of course, was trying to bury it. Found out what was there. We rebuilt it. It's not that way anymore.
I think ironically too, Joey used to live in this building.
With my brother Matt.
Yep. The house of ill repute.
After I first bought it, there was a bedroom here. This is what's left of the walls, and this was a hallway, and that was a bedroom back there. And they spent the summer of discontent here.
It was called the Den of Iniquity.
It wasn't their discontent, it was ours.
They were pretty happy.
They were pretty happy. There was a lot of music and a lot of hidden
Hilarity.
But like, for instance, the garage that Cody uses, that garage was the car garage, and it sat to the right of the main building where Louisa is now.
Oh.
And Daddy moved it, and then the beer shed, which was actually the carriage house, lived right at the end of the parking lot where the trees are.
Oh my gosh.
And so it was directly across from what would be the other back door of the store.
Oh, wow.
The shed and the toilets, that was a stable.
Oh.
Because Freeman had a horse for his daughter. And so he had a stable out back right next to the apple tree. And I took the apple tree and planted it up next to where Louisa almost moved in. There's an apple tree. It's dead now, but when I had it, it was still alive. And then I moved this. That's the oldest building on the property right there.
Oh, wow.
That shed came from the old. Across the street was Bill Helms. It came from out behind Bill Helms because his father or his uncle had a horse and buggy. And so the building was there, and then Fred needed a stable for his daughter's black and white pony, and he bought it from Bill for $5 and they moved it across the street.
Did they get a permit?
Well, I was no, not in those days, and nobody ticketed him for it either. And then I moved it down here, and the health department said I had to put floors and everything in it, so we got it all rebuilt, and Fred Freeman was still alive, and he looked at me, and he said, well, it was worth $5, I don't know whether it's worth the $2,500 you put in there. Anyway.
And then all of these cabins were in a mishmash around here, because remember the outside used to come up another 3 feet. That was all a hill out there. And
Well, actually, it went up to 7 feet. When you walk out of here, if you look up toward the next door neighbor, you'll see a stone wall. It goes up 7 feet, and that just used to come down, and there were 4 big pine trees right out in front of what is now Sally's place. And we took all those pine trees out, and then we took the hill out, and that's how we made the backyard.
Okay. I didn't know any
We
of that.
had a few arguments with the DEC and a few other people, but 25 years ago.
44.
The deal was I could buy it if it was out of Lori's sight by the time the sun set.
My office is way up high, you know, in the store, and all I had to look at was that beat up old bait shop there. It never got painted,
We put it up on logs, I had no permit,
and I had no idea he was doing this either.
and I hooked the backhoe on it and started across the street, and Keller came along with his backhoe and got behind it. But when we turned the corner to go around the corner, the skids that I had built weren't built to turn. So the building came off and smacked in the middle of the road and started coming apart.
Oh my
On
God.
4th of July?
Yes, Friday afternoon.
And then
We backed the traffic was backed up past Longview.
Oh my gosh.
While we unclogged the
was it a
highway.
DEC officer that was mad at you?
No, it was, he married Sam Ketchum's daughter. He was the foreman for the state crew.
O'Hara.
O'Hara.
Yeah, Jim.
Yes,
Jim.
yeah, and O'Hara was, he's the one that called the cops. And the cop showed up, and the cop said, I can't write Mr. Hosley a ticket, Mr. O'Hara, unless you sign a sworn statement, because it's hearsay. You're telling me something that happened that I didn't see.
See, it was all totally cleared
It was
up in
done
about
before the-
12 seconds they cleaned it up.
It took about 40 minutes and backed up a lot of traffic,
Very
made a
fast.
lot of wonderful stories. And the cop was a real nice guy, and he said, could you explain to me, Mr. Hosley, why you didn't feel you needed a permit? And I said, yeah, the land on that side belongs to me, and then my deed runs to the middle of the road. And the land on this side belongs to me, and the deed runs to the middle of the road. So I never left my property.
Nice.
And the cop standing there, he goes, I'll be interested to hear that argued in court.
You ought to write a book.
So I after about the 4th try to get Jim to sign a statement, Jim was refusing, you know, he was walking around and he said, well, he never pays any attention to us anyway. You think the state where it belongs to him? And he's doing this. And I said to the trooper, would it be easier for you if I just left and supervised the rest of the cleanup and, you know, kind of defended that hole over there that's now an open basement? And he said, I'll be in touch. So I left, and about 45 minutes later, he came over and I said, am I getting a ticket? And he said, no. He said he refused to sign. Well, it turns out that if a supervisor in the state turns somebody in for something like that, they're suspended while an investigation
Oh, no.
goes on. And he didn't want to spend part of the summer suspended. I don't blame him.
Oh, yeah.
And I just laughed about it. I don't know whether Jim laughs about it yet or not. But anyway, we got the building, we put it out here, and there's more to that than just that, but that's enough.
That used to be the Dr. Bob's